What happens when a two-term US president steps away from the most powerful office in the world? Do they fade into the background, or do they start living a life most of us could only dream of? Barack Obama didn't just leave the White House. He entered a new era of influence, wealth, and global recognition. From historic achievements to million-dollar estates, from world-changing policies to luxury vacations, Obama's post-presidency life is just as fascinating as his time in office. Today, Barack Obama is worth an estimated $70 million. That's right, $70 million. Since leaving office in 2017, Obama has not slowed down one bit. He's only leveled up. The power couple and Michelle Obama signed a massive $65 million book deal with Penguin Random House. That's one of the biggest book deals in publishing history. His memoir, A Promised Land, sold nearly 1 million copies within its first 24 hours. But it doesn't stop at books. In 2018, Barack and Michelle signed a multi-year deal with Netflix to produce documentaries, films, and shows. One of their first projects, American Factory, won an Academy Award for Best Documentary. After moving out of the White House, the Obamas settled into a sprawling $8.1 million mansion in Washington, D.C. 9 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, 2 gourmet kitchens, a wine cellar, an exercise room, and fireplaces you could fit your entire family around, but that's just the starter. Their second home? A $12 million waterfront estate on Martha's Vineyard with 7 bedrooms, 8 baths, a private beach, boathouse, stone fireplaces, and a sun deck with panoramic ocean views. It's a retreat straight out of a dream. But things weren't always this glamorous. Barack Hussein Obama II was born in 1961 in Honolulu, Hawaii, far from the political power centers of Washington, D.C. His father, Barack Obama Sr., was a Kenyan student on scholarship, and his mother, Ann Dunham, was a white woman from Kansas. The marriage was brief. When Obama was just 2 years old, his father left the family and eventually returned to Kenya. From that point on, young Barack was raised primarily by his mother and later by his maternal grandparents. Growing up, Obama felt the weight of identity, isolation, and financial strain. His childhood was a patchwork of different cultures and places. He spent part of his youth in Indonesia with his mother and stepfather, attending local schools and sometimes struggling to fit in. Then he returned to Hawaii, where he lived with his grandparents clinging to books as a way to make sense of his world. Even with the instability and loneliness, he pushed forward. Obama attended Columbia University studying political science, but even then, life wasn't easy. He described living in a small apartment with barely enough money to pay the rent. He avoided taking on too much debt, bought used books, and walked most places because he couldn't afford public transportation. His ambition, however, never wavered. After college, he worked briefly in the corporate world but felt unfulfilled. He turned instead to grassroots work in Chicago's South Side, earning just over $10,000 a year as a community organizer. He was walking the streets, knocking on doors, helping people fight for jobs, housing, and better schools. He wasn't famous, he wasn't wealthy, he was just a young man with a funny name and big dreams. Eventually, he attended Harvard Law School and again made history, becoming the first black president of the prestigious Harvard Law Review. But even then, his path wasn't paved with privilege. He continued to carry student loans, lived modestly and remained focused on his mission to uplift others. Obama's early life was not defined by luxury or legacy. It was defined by struggle, sacrifice, and a quiet determination to do more, to be more. But destiny had bigger plans. His political rise wasn't a meteoric leap, it was a patient climb built on purpose. After Harvard, Barack Obama returned to Chicago not to chase high-paying law firm jobs, but to serve. He became a civil rights attorney and taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago. He didn't lose sight of the communities he once walked through as a young organizer. Instead, he dug deeper into the grassroots. In 1996, Obama took his first step into politics, winning a seat in the Illinois State Senate. There, he developed a reputation for working across party lines. He focused on ethics reform, healthcare access, and criminal justice reform. Colleagues often described him as calm, strategic, and deeply committed to dialogue, not division. But in 2000, he faced a hard lesson in political defeat. Obama ran for Congress, challenging longtime incumbent Bobby Rush. He lost the race by a large margin, and many viewed it as the end of his political future. Broke, discouraged, and emotionally drained, he stepped back to reflect. But the loss wasn't the end, it was a turning point. He recalibrated and focused on building a stronger, more grounded campaign style. By 2004, Obama was back, this time aiming for the US Senate. He won, but it was his speech at the 2004 Democratic National Convention that launched him into the national spotlight. He spoke not as a politician, but as someone who deeply believed in America's promise. In the Senate, Obama worked on ethics reform, lobbying transparency, and veterans' care. He avoided the spotlight, but commanded attention. As the 2008 election neared, calls for him to run grew stronger. On February 10, 2007, in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln once stood, Obama announced his candidacy for president. Many thought he couldn't win. He was too new, too idealistic, too different. Running against political giants like Hillary Clinton, Obama leaned into hope, unity, and a grassroots campaign powered by everyday people. His team revolutionized political organizing through digital platforms. Volunteers were mobilized through social media and local meetups. It became more than a campaign, it became a movement. But challenges came fast. Media scrutiny, doubts about his background, and controversy over his former pastor. Obama met each one with honesty. His "A More Perfect Union" speech in 2008 addressed race in America head-on and shifted the conversation. He continued winning primaries and clinched the Democratic nomination in June 2008. In the general election, he faced Senator John McCain amid an economic meltdown. As the nation panicked, Obama offered clarity and calm, focusing on economic recovery, healthcare reform, and energy independence. He reminded voters that leadership is about judgment, not popularity. On November 4th, 2008, Obama was elected the 44th President of the United States, the first African American to hold the office. He inherited an economic disaster. He responded with a $787 billion stimulus package, a bailout that saved the auto industry, and reforms that stabilized the financial system. In 2010, he passed the Affordable Care Act, expanding healthcare to millions and protecting those with pre-existing conditions. Internationally, he ended the combat in Iraq, took out Osama bin Laden. He prioritized diplomacy, signing the Iran nuclear deal, re-establishing relations with Cuba, and joining the Paris Climate Agreement. Obama championed equality, boldly supporting same-sex marriage advocating for gender rights and consistently speaking out on issues of racial injustice. And he used his platform to push for a more inclusive and empathetic America, even as his presidency was met with fierce opposition, political gridlock, and waves of misinformation. Still, he stayed grounded in hope and the belief that progress was possible. Re-elected in 2012, he doubled down on critical issues like immigration reform, climate change, education, and criminal justice reform. By the time he left office in 2017, Obama had become more than a politician. He had grown into a symbol of grace, resilience, and unwavering public service. He entered the White House with black hair and a cautious smile. He left it grayer, wiser, but still filled with hope and dignity. Barack Obama's journey to financial prosperity began long before his presidency. In 2004, while serving in the Illinois Senate, he earned a modest annual salary of $80,287. At the same time, he taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago, bringing in an additional $32,144. Though far from wealthy, these roles laid the groundwork for a remarkable financial ascent. Obama's breakthrough came in 2005 when he secured a lucrative multi-book deal with Random House. The highlight of this deal was a $1.9 million advance for The Audacity of Hope, a bestseller that spent 30 weeks on the New York Times list and won a Grammy for Best Spoken Word Album. That same year, he also received over $847,000 for a re-release of his earlier memoir, Dreams from My Father, combined with additional royalties of $378,000 in 2005 and $150,000 in 2007. His total book earnings climbed to an impressive $3.3 million. Jan Obama didn't stop at publishing. He strategically invested in U.S. Treasury notes valued between $500,000 and $1 million, and in Vanguard mutual funds worth up to $200,000. He also opened 2 college savings accounts, each with $50,000 to $100,000 for his daughters. Even his Nobel Peace Prize money, $1.4 million, was donated entirely to charity, underscoring both his generosity and increasing financial stability. These savvy moves formed the early pillars of a portfolio that would later swell to an estimated $70 million net worth. Barack Obama's post-presidential life has been anything but quiet. Far from settling into a traditional retirement, the former president and his wife, Michelle, have embraced a lifestyle marked by elegance, culture, and discovery. Their travels have taken them to some of the world's most breathtaking destinations, from walking the ancient ruins of Greece to exploring the serene rice terraces of Bali, whether sailing across crystal-clear waters, strolling through historical landmarks, or enjoying intimate cultural experiences. The Obamas travel with a mix of purpose and luxury. Their vacations are not just about relaxation, they reflect a deeper appreciation for global diversity, history, and connection. These journeys highlight how international admiration for the Obamas has translated into exclusive access, privacy, and experiences most only dream of. And that global admiration was just as evident during Obama's presidency through the extravagant gifts he received from world leaders. Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah presented Obama with a desert sculpture featuring gold palm trees and camels atop marble, a gold medallion in a leather box, and a brass clock valued at around $34,000. In total, gifts from the Saudi royal family amounted to approximately $1.4 million. China's President Hu Jintao gave an embroidered silk portrait of the Obama family, worth $220,000. The United Kingdom offered a pen crafted from wood salvaged from the HMS Gannet, valued at over $116,000. Italy gifted a gold Francesco Basil watch, glass candle holders, and a crystal American flag table totaling over $6,000. Other memorable gifts included an $88,000 bronze sculpture from Israel, an ebony carving from Tanzania, and symbolic artifacts from Pope Benedict XVI. While US presidents are required to surrender most of these diplomatic gifts to the National Archives, their significance as tokens of global respect remains etched in history. So there you have it. From rebuilding a nation to living in multi-million-dollar estates, from receiving golden gifts to jet-setting across the globe, Barack Obama's life after the White House is as dynamic as ever. But now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Obama's post-presidency life reflects the ideals he stood for while in office? What surprised you most? His vacation spots, his homes, or the gifts he received? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a story like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.